Tick, tock. Funny how a clock can suddenly feel like a heartbeat when time starts running out. 21 minutes. That's all. Feels small, doesn't it? Just a sip of time. But when someone whispers that the next 21 minutes hold something that might break you, then every second gets heavier. People start breathing differently, eyes darting, mind racing. Not because the news is here yet. No, fear is never in the moment things happen. Fear lives in the waiting. You know what's fascinating about fear? It never waits for reality to show up. Oh no. Fear likes to arrive early, like an eager guest with messy shoes, stomping across your mind before anything has even happened. The truth could be calm, quiet, even harmless. But fear doesn't care about truth. Fear cares about imagination. It takes a tiny whisper of uncertainty and turns it into a roaring orchestra in your skull. One rumor, one hint, one countdown, and suddenly the mind becomes a haunted house where every shadow looks like doom wearing your name. Fear grows louder not when danger hits, but right before it. Because fear isn't fueled by reality. It's fueled by what your mind thinks reality will be. People don't panic because they know the truth. They panic because they don't. It's the space right before the reveal where humans start shaking. That quiet stretch of time when you know something is coming, but you don't know whether it will hug you or destroy you. That's where fear feasts. In uncertainty, in silence, in the seconds before the curtain lifts. The truth doesn't break most people. The suspense does. The mind starts spinning stories, and it spins them beautifully, doesn't it? Drama, tragedy, chaos. Worst case scenarios stacked like dominoes ready to fall with the tiniest breath. You don't even need a threat. Just the idea that something big is coming. And watch how quickly the heart beats, like it owes the world every drop of blood left in it. The funniest part. The louder fear grows, the less real it usually is. Fear is a performer. It craves attention. It thrives in imagination. Inflates itself like a balloon right before reality walks in and pokes it back to size. But before truth arrives, fear wants to be king. It whispers like poisoned silk, making you believe the floor beneath you is cracking even when it's perfectly still. It tells you you're not ready, tells you you're weak, tells you the sky is about to fall and you won't survive it. And you believe it because the unknown is a blank screen, and the mind loves to paint nightmares when it doesn't have facts to cling to. People think bravery means facing danger. No. Bravery means facing possibility, facing silence, facing that inner storm when nothing has happened yet, but your mind is making you feel as though everything already did. When the truth arrives, at least you have something solid to fight. But before truth, you fight air, you fight ghosts, you fight your own thoughts clawing at your ribs like they're trying to escape your chest. That's why waiting is torture. That's why countdowns are cruel. Because the enemy isn't the moment. It's the voice whispering what the moment might be. And how fear loves to grow in darkness. When you sit alone, when the seconds tick slowly, when your breath gets louder than the world around you. It creeps in gently. then suddenly screams like it's always been there. Your palms sweat, your mind races. Your body braces for impact you haven't even seen. You feel the blow before it lands, sometimes before it even exists. Humans break themselves with prediction long before life ever gets a chance to try. Fear doesn't need truth to hurt you. It just needs time and silence and a tiny doubt to chew on. And it grows fangs out of nothing. You know what truly separates strong minds from fragile ones. It's not who stands tall when chaos hits. It's who stays calm before it does. Who breathes when their brain is begging them to gasp? Who sits still when fear is dancing in their skull? Who refuses to let imagination become executioner? Because anyone can hold themselves together after the truth lands, but very few can hold themselves together before it arrives. Control in calm moments is nothing. Control in anticipation, that's power, that's discipline. That's the kind of mind the world can't break easily. Fear doesn't grow louder because the truth is scary. Fear grows louder because silence gives it a stage. And most people never realize the only audience fear performs for is the one sitting behind their own eyes. Countdowns. Isn't it funny how humans treat time like a judge with a hammer, ready to slam it down the second those last seconds vanish? 21 minutes. It could be meaningless, harmless, just numbers marching one after another. But the mind doesn't see minutes. It sees doom lurking in every tick. That little beep, beep, beep of time passing suddenly becomes a threat instead of a rhythm. You don't fear the moment. You fear what happens when the moment runs out. That's the punchline. Time itself does nothing. It just sits there, neutral, bored, moving on whether you're laughing or trembling. But you give it teeth. You turn seconds into swords pointed at your own chest and hold your breath like you're waiting for the world to collapse the moment the clock blinks to zero. People worship clocks like they worship gods. They place their sanity in a set of numbers glowing on a screen. You only have this much time left. This will happen at exactly this hour. And suddenly, everything feels heavier, sharper. Why? Because humans need deadlines to feel scared. They can't stand not knowing of when the punch is coming. So when you give them a time, they cling to it like it's prophecy carved in stone. But here's the trick. The clock doesn't care about you. It isn't racing toward your doom. It's just moving, ticking, existing. You're the one sprinting in circles because someone whispered, when the timer ends, something big will happen. Oh, the imagination lights up, doesn't it? Burning like gasoline poured on a nervous mind, and as those minutes fade, the body starts doing that adorable little panic dance. Your heartbeat turns into a drummer boy who drank too much caffeine. Your lungs forget how breathing works. In, out, too fast, too slow. You start gripping things, tapping your foot, swallowing nothing like it's poison. The world feels suddenly fragile, like if you speak too loud the universe might crack, all because you decided time wasn't just passing. It was preparing for something grand, terrible, earth-shaking. Funny how the mind loves drama. It builds disasters from whispers. It turns a clock into a bomb, even when there's no fuse, no wires, no threat. Just dread dressed up as destiny. You ever notice how the last minutes always feel louder? How you can sit through hours just fine, but the moment you get close to the end, oh, suddenly everything inside you screams. 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, 1 minute left, and now. Now every second feels like a drumbeat inside your skull. Time doesn't change pace, you do. Because anticipation is a monster that eats patience first, logic second, and sanity last. And once it starts chewing on sanity, oh, things get interesting. Every sound becomes suspicious. Every thought starts whispering warnings. Every possibility feels like a threat waiting to pounce. The real joke is that you don't even know what you're afraid of. You're scared because you decided something bad is coming. It's like waiting for a punch in a dark room that may never come, flinching before anything touches you. People like to pretend they're scared of consequences. They're actually scared of waiting, scared of that suffocating space where they know something might happen, but can't control when or how. You see, control, that's what this is all about. The moment a clock starts ticking towards something unknown, you realize you don't hold the reins. And nothing terrifies people more than being reminded they're not in charge, so they panic, pace, sweat, tear themselves apart from the inside while the world peacefully goes about its business. Imagine being broken not by what happens, but by what else might happen. Humans always crumble before the event more than after it. They suffer twice. Once in imagination, once in reality, if reality even bothers showing up. The countdown isn't cruel by design. It's cruel because you fill it with expectation, fear, prophecy. You turn harmless time into a psychological execution chamber, waiting for the blade that may not even exist. Minutes don't break people. Anticipation does. The quiet before impact, whether impact is real or not. And in that quiet, minds twist, hearts race, and people become their own tormentors, while time simply keeps walking, never looking back, never flinching, never caring, just marching forward 1 second at a time. Hope. Ah, now there's a delicious little parasite. People worship it like a holy relic, polish it, cradle it, whisper to it every night before they sleep. Things will get better. Something good is coming. They cling to it like a drowning person hugging driftwood, knuckles white, breath shaking. But hope, oh, hope is a tricky creature. It doesn't stab you in the dark like fear. It doesn't scream in your ear. It just smiles, sits beside you, and promises a sunrise while quietly sharpening the knife behind its back. Because hope doesn't break you at the start. It waits. It lets you rise, let your guard down, paint your dreams on the ceiling, and then it pulls the floor out from under you. Then it laughs while you scramble for the same walls. You trusted you know what's truly funny. People think hopelessness is what destroys them. No, no, no. Absolute hopelessness is easy. It's quiet, numb, almost peaceful. You stop fighting. You stop expecting. You accept the dirt, the darkness, the end. There's no more roller coaster when the ride has already crashed. But hope keeps you strapped in. keeps the ride moving, keeps your heart climbing the hill and waiting for the drop. You think you're rising toward glory, toward light, toward some grand destiny, and then suddenly gravity reminds you it always wins. Hope isn't comfort. It's suspense wearing perfume, and there you sit, telling yourself you're special, chosen, destined for something meaningful. Any second now, life will deliver your grand moment, your sweet reward. You tell yourself good things are coming, that struggle has purpose, that pain is just the dramatic build up. It sounds poetic in your head, doesn't it? Like someday you'll look back and say, yes, it was all worth it. But sometimes life doesn't care about your emotional arc. Sometimes you're just waiting for a train that's never scheduled to arrive. And the longer you wait, the more hope starts to taste like rust on your tongue. Wasn't it fascinating how hope feels brightest right before it breaks? That last spark, that breath before the plunge. Humans cling to it like a final heartbeat. It's when the clock is almost empty, when the room feels too quiet, when the mind whispers, maybe it'll still work out. That's when hope becomes the cruelest. Because even when everything screams, collapse, the human brain whispers possibility. It's like watching someone hold a balloon over a fire, laughing, insisting it won't pop. And when it finally does, bang, they look so shocked, so betrayed, as if the universe made a personal promise to them, and then laughed in their face. You see, hope gives pain flavor. It gives disappointment teeth. Without hope, a fall is just gravity. With hope, a fall feels like betrayal, and betrayal hurts deeper than any blade ever could. Betrayal comes from belief, from trust, from the lie you fed yourself because it felt sweeter than honesty. Hope is the sugar that coats the poison of reality. It tastes good. It keeps you smiling. It keeps you dreaming. It sets you up beautifully, like a stage with velvet curtains and golden lights. And then reality walks in, unsmiling, unbothered, kicking down the scenery, while you stand there, choking on the glitter you thought was magic. But let's not pretend hope is useless. Oh no, hope keeps you alive. It keeps you moving when logic screams stop. It pulls you out of bed when despair has you pinned. That's the funny part. The same thing that saves you can hurt you. The same flame that lights your path can burn your skin. People want hope without the pain. They want belief without disappointment. They want to rise without the risk of falling. And that's adorable. Truly. Because hope always carries a shadow. It always comes with a price. You can't hope big without risking a big shatter. The brighter the dream, the sharper the shards when it breaks. So there you are, sitting with your precious little hope, rocking it like a baby, praying it grows into something real. You tell yourself you're almost there, almost chosen, almost rewarded, almost saved. And maybe you are. Or maybe you're just feeding yourself a story, because the silence of uncertainty scares you more than a beautiful lie. But that's what makes hope the sweetest poison. You drink it willingly, smiling, desperate, believing the sting means you're alive. Hope never forces itself into your veins. You invite it in. You beg for it. And sometimes, just sometimes, it loves you back, right before it reminds you how fragile you really are. Urgency. Ah, the world's favorite panic button. It's fascinating how people suddenly become alive when they believe they're running out of time. Give them years, and they sleep through life like lazy cats in the sun. Give them minutes, and watch how they claw at the walls, gasp for air, scramble like someone lit a fire right under their soul. Isn't that hilarious? When there's all the time in the world, nobody moves. But whisper, you don't have much time left. And suddenly hearts start pounding like they've got purpose. Not real purpose, mind you. Panic disguised as purpose. The rush doesn't come from meaning. It comes from terror. From the idea that something is about to end, and they haven't done enough, seen enough, been enough. Humans don't chase meaning. They run from regret, terrified it will catch them first. You ever notice how urgency doesn't come from truth, but from pressure? Someone shouts, hurry, and nobody even asks why. They just start moving. Run first, think later. That's the dance. The world has trained you beautifully. Push a little time scarcity into your brain, and you turn into a frantic puppet. Pull the invisible strings, and those lovely little survival instincts wake up screaming. You don't pause. You don't question. You react. Urgency makes people sloppy. It steals logic right out of their pockets and leaves them shaking, panting, pretending they're focused, when really, they're just afraid of the clock strangling them. But here's the beautiful twist. Urgency isn't real. It's a trick, a whisper, a tightening around the mind, not the world. Time is moving the same pace it always does. There's no drum roll in the sky, no cosmic countdown dangling above your head. But you feel one anyway, don't you? You imagine a fuse burning, sparks racing toward some grand explosion. You create the danger in your head. You assign value to seconds. You build a cage out of imaginary deadlines and then scream when the walls close in. You become the prisoner and the warden all at once. Self-inflicted panic. Magnificent. Really look at people when they think they're about to lose something. Control, safety, stability, reputation. Suddenly they care. Suddenly every second matters. Suddenly they find energy they swore they never had. Isn't that interesting? They never lacked power. They lacked urgency. Or rather, they lacked the illusion of urgency. Because the whole time, they could have moved, could have fought, could have climbed. But no. Why rush when tomorrow exists? Why bleed effort into life when comfort is easier? Then, when they feel the floor cracking under them, they sprint. They gasp, they plead. They wake up only when they believe they're about to lose the privilege of moving at all. Urgency is a double-edged joke. On one side, it makes cowards run. On the other, it shakes people awake. It strips away excuses, exposes that beautiful human laziness, and says, go on then. Show who you really are. It's funny how a ticking clock turns the quiet ones into fighters and the proud ones into trembling children. Deadlines don't build character, they reveal it. Remove time and everyone pretends. Give a little pressure, and masks fall off faster than pride can grab them. You start to see who's disciplined and who's just been hoping life wouldn't demand proof. People love to say, "I'll start when I have to." Adorable, as if the universe sends polite reminders, as if life knocks kindly and waits. No, life likes to kick doors, rip rugs out from under your calm little feet, and then there you are scrambling in chaos, swearing you'll do better if you survive the storm. But storms don't negotiate with procrastinators. Pressure doesn't reward the unprepared. Urgency only feels like torture when you've been asleep too long. Those who were awake, those who moved before the clock started screaming. They don't fear the countdown. They own it. While the others panic, they breathe. While others sprint with shaking legs, they walk with intention. They don't need seconds to scare them into motion. They create motion themselves. Funny thing, urgency feels like fear to some, but to others, it feels like ignition. It's the spark for minds too sharp to wait. The ones who realize life isn't guaranteed. Time isn't promised. Clocks don't owe you anything. Some people only live when fear forces them to. Others live because they know they don't have forever. And they don't wait for the alarm to scream before waking up. The question isn't whether the countdown is real. The question is whether you only run when you feel the floor collapsing, or whether you've learned to move while it's still solid beneath your feet pressure. Now, that is where the fun really begins. Everyone wants to believe they're strong, composed, unshakable, until life places a hand on their shoulder and presses, just a little. Suddenly the breath shortens, palms sweat, and the mind starts doing acrobatics it was never trained for. Pressure doesn't need to scream to break someone. It just whispers, tightens, asks quietly, "Are you sure you can handle this?" And the moment doubt flickers, oh, the whole mental palace starts cracking like cheap glass under a boot. See, people talk big when the room is calm. They look confident when the table is set, the lights are warm, and nothing threatens their skin. But take away their comfort, turn up the heat. Squeeze just slightly, and that's when the truth crawls out. People love the fantasy of strength more than the reality of it. They boast, they puff their chests, they say, "I can take anything." Yet the smallest tremor in their world, and suddenly they're chewing their lips, pacing floors, praying, not to gods, but to certainty, stability, predictability. Pressure is the great revealer. It strips illusions faster than a magician ripping cloth off a table. It shows whether you were truly built for storms, or whether you were just rehearsing bravery in a sunny room. Because real strength isn't loud. It doesn't pose. It doesn't bark. Strength is what keeps you breathing evenly when the world is sitting on your lungs. Strength is silent, just like panic before it erupts. Ever seen someone crumble before anything even hits them? That's pressure at its finest. No calamity yet, just the Zoar's possibility of one. And they start shaking, unraveling, exploding inside themselves, while the outside world hasn't even blinked. That's the magic. Pressure rarely needs reality. It feeds off expectation, imagination. What if? Minds don't collapse from events, they collapse from anticipation. You could tell someone the sky might fall in 20 minutes and watch them fall apart faster than any sky ever could. Pressure doesn't harm the body first. It eats the mind. It gnaws at self-trust, bites at confidence, tears at that thin layer of sanity we all pretend is welded steel, when really it's held together by fragile little emotional strings. You want to know when people show who they are, not when they win. Winning is easy. Smiling is easy. Laughing is easy when life is kissing your forehead and handing you gifts. No. Watch people when they're cornered. Watch their hands when they don't know what to do. Watch their eyes when the answer isn't obvious. That's when you see whether they think or panic, whether they breathe or break. Some collapse like paper in rain. Some scream, blame, beg, search for someone else to hold their fear. And then there are the rare ones. The ones who grin when pressure tightens. Who lean in instead of pulling back. Who feel the weight and don't shatter. They sharpen but don't misunderstand. Everyone feels pressure, even the strongest. The difference is what they do with it. Weak minds let pressure suffocate them. Strong minds turn pressure into clarity, like diamonds forged in heat. Weak minds panic because reality suddenly doesn't behave. Strong minds smirk because chaos is simply honesty without makeup. Pressure isn't your enemy. It's the most truthful mirror you'll ever stare into. It shows you whether your confidence was real or rented, whether your courage was muscle or costume, whether your calm was discipline or just a comfortable nap disguised as wisdom. You ever notice how people suddenly find excuses under pressure? It wasn't the right time. I wasn't ready. This isn't fair. Oh, how poetic. As if fairness ever signed a contract promising to appear when needed. Pressure doesn't negotiate. It doesn't ask if you slept well. It doesn't care if you're tired, scared, overwhelmed. Pressure arrives like a rude guest, kicks your door in, and sees if you stand or collapse right there on the spot. And most, they fold. Not because they lack time or talent or opportunity, but because they never train their mind to breathe under weight. See, life never asks politely, "Are you prepared?" It drops challenges on your chest and watches whether you choke or adapt. People think they hate pressure. They don't hate pressure. They hate discovering they weren't as strong as they pretended to be. Pressure doesn't ruin you, it reveals you. And that's why most fear it. Not because pressure hurts, but because pressure exposes every crack you hope no one would see. But here's the trick. Those who learn to welcome pressure, who treat it not as punishment, but as proof they're alive and in the arena, those are the ones no countdown, no news, no ticking clock can ever truly break choice. Oh, that's the real stage, isn't it? Not fate, not destiny, not some cosmic script written in glowing letters across the sky. No, no. Life doesn't whisper instructions in your ear like a friendly narrator. It throws moments at you, hands you a coin, says quietly, "Flip it, decide," and then watches with wide eyes as you tremble over something as simple and as terrifying as choosing. People romanticize fate because it gives them permission to blame someone else. It was meant to be. I had no control. Cute. Really. But the truth is far more unsettling. You choose. You always choose. Even when you think you're trapped, even when you swear life cornered you, even when the clock screams and your knees shake, you choose. And most people hate that, because choice comes with responsibility. And responsibility means you were the architect of your collapse or your rise. You know what terrifies people more than bad news? The knowledge that they must respond to it. That they can't just sit there, frozen, pretending time will make the decision for them. Time doesn't decide. It exposes. It reveals what kind of decision maker sits inside that skin you wear. Some freeze like rabbits staring at headlights, praying the world blinks first. Others panic, thrashing around, making noise instead of choices. And a rare few. They narrow their eyes, inhale slowly, and choose. Not because they're fearless, but because they understand that waiting is just surrender disguised as patience. Choice is power, but only if you accept that power burns when you hold it. There's this lovely little irony. People scream for freedom, beg for autonomy, chant about control, but hand them a moment where they must decide. And suddenly they long for chains, for orders, for a voice telling them what to do. Freedom isn't soft. It isn't romantic. True freedom is brutal because it demands that you carry the weight of your own decisions. No scapegoats. No excuses. Just you and the consequences you crafted like a sculptor working blindfolded. And oh,